Hey, yo. Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing my comic pull list for the week. Now, this is week 4, and this week was brutal on me. A lot of comics to pick up. Not only we had DC, but we had some IDW, and we also had some Dark Horse and Marvel. So we have a lot to go through today. And might as well start where we always start, with a little bit of Batman in our life, with Batman Inc. issue number 5. Now, issue number 5 is a return of sorts to the 666 universe, for lack of a better term, or at least the 666 possible reality. If you don't know what I'm talking about, before the New 52, there was Batman issue number 666, and it showed a possible future where Damian becomes Batman. This was also touched upon in issue 700, I believe, also. Another Damian story, which I think involved Terry McGinnis. Could be wrong on that. But yeah, so we return to the 666 universe, 666. There you go. The number of the devil. And basically in this, Damian is Batman, and the Joker Venom virus has kind of spread throughout Gotham, and the last haven is in Arkham, which is ironic, and he's working with Commissioner Gordon, who is Barbara Gordon, and all that kind of fun jazz. And while this is going on, Batman tells Damian in the present day that the reason why he can't be with Bruce anymore is because that's Talia's ultimate plan, for him to become this Batman, and that Bruce had a dream of this happening and he can't allow it to pass. So he continues to tell Robin, screw it, you can't be part of the Batman team. But in the 666 universe, Damian is basically at the end of his ropes. He can't do anything else. He's losing the battle. What will be the ultimate fate of Damian in both the present and the alternate future? Just gonna have to read and see. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. I did enjoy the 6-6 universe, kind of as a fun little side thing. I did enjoy the story that was going on there. I thought it was entertaining. I enjoyed how the Joker Venom has infected everyone and their bodies are like falling apart, which was actually pretty cool. It had a good level of atmosphere to it. And the ending for that alternate future was actually pretty shocking, and not shocking, but it was dark, to say the least. Bad. Batman has a dream, and that's why he's not going to have Damian be part of his team? Really? 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 I mean, that's the stupidest reason for the alternate future. Hey, Damian, you're a great Robin and all, but I had this dream last night that I was having sex with Superman and Wonder Woman. Oh, and by the way, you became a very edgy, evil Batman after I died. Can't allow you to have the team anymore. It's like, that's the stupidest reason for this. Or to kick Damian off the team. Two is this just feels so disconnected with everything else going on with Batman. And we've kind of knew that. Grant kind of does his own thing, goes to the beat of his own drum. But it just feels way too disconnected from the New 52 and just the basic Batman stuff. On a whole, I give this a 3. It had a good, solid story, but the logic behind it was just bad. It was. And I know a lot of people are big Batman Inc. fans, and that they probably would get a bigger and higher score. And like I said, it was good, but the logic behind it is just asinine and stupid. Batman had a dream, and I went through the issue again to see if there was like a reasoning to that. No, he had a dream. Really? On to Batman Dark Knight issue number 14. So Batman basically versus the Scarecrow in a brutal fight. A brutal fight. And the Scarecrow kind of has this master plan going for him. What is that master plan? I don't want to reveal, but it's almost kind of a throwback to the 1989 movie. I'm revealing too much. What is this master plan and what exactly it entails for Batman? Just gonna have to see. And if Batman makes it out, will he make it out all in one piece, or did the Scarecrow do something mentally to the Bat? Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Like I said, the battle was brutal between Scarecrow and Batman. Small spoiler. just to let you know. I think the most brutal point is where Batman took the grappling hook and shot it through the jaw of Scarecrow, having him hang in the ceiling just so Batman could get away. And Batman walking around with a sai blade in his arm the whole time. Really good fight. I did like the creepiness that comes with the Scarecrow in this, the absolute creepiness that comes with him. And I did like how again, this is taking Scarecrow to a new level. And one could say Scarecrow is kind of like Mr. Freeze. He has only one note when it comes down to the character stories. It has to be about fear. But in this, it's more about fear. It's more than just fear. It's testing the body and testing the mind. Bad. The ending I didn't really care for, and I thought it was just I don't know. It's interesting how Greg Hertz does this because I think he's a really good writer and he does really great stories. And at the end, he kind of gets very bombastic and over the top with a lot of his stuff. And it felt a little over the top with this. But besides that, this was a solid issue. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it a lot, particularly the fight between Scarecrow and Batman. Talon issue number 2. So, basically, our good friend Talon has to go and infiltrate, Calvin Rose has to go and infiltrate one of the Court of Owls, I want to say, what would be the term? I don't know. One of their safekeepings. It's where they keep a lot of their more important items, where they make a lot of revenue off, and where they get a lot of their riches from. And Calvin thinks he's going in there to help get protect his friends and family by getting a little data chip to basically get information on the Court of Owls. But actually, his purpose there is a lot different from what he thinks. And what happens when he goes up against yet again another Talon? Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. I really do love the feel of this comic. It feels like Assassin's Creed meets Da Vinci Code. There's a lot of mystery and a lot of things that has to be uncovered. But at the same time, Calvin has his missions and he has his hit list. Not a hit list, but his goals and his targets. And it just really has a great feel to it. And the characters in this, the way they interact with each other and how they're evolving as characters and kind of getting fleshed out a bit is really being well done. The action in this is great, and the ending was just beautiful. Bad, zilch. This was a great issue. Talon has been a great 3-issue series so far, and I'm enjoying it 5 out of 5. On to FF issue number 1. So, FF is being done by Matt Fraction, who is apparently also doing Fantastic Four. And I'm picking up FF for 2 reasons. One is it ties into Fantastic Four, which is one of the main titles I wanted to get from Marvel. And 2 is that one of my favorite Marvel characters is on the team, and that being She-Hulk. I've gone over this before, and I'm not going to go over it again, but I like She-Hulk. I think she's one of the better female characters from Marvel, and I've always enjoyed her. Actually, at our comic store, we do a thing where we take comic series or runs on comics or minis and we package them together. So like Kyle Rayner's run on Green Lantern, we package it together, or a miniseries like Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, and we package it together. And one of them is one of the She-Hulk series. I think it's in the 2000s, where it's a 12-issue series, and I picked it up and it's in my box waiting for like $5. I get those 12 issues, and I like She-Hulk. I think she's interesting. I think she's more fun than the actual Hulk, but that's just me. Anyways, how does FF stand up? Well, basically, this is an introductory issue. Mr. Fantastic is talking to the whole team, and the one thing I do like about this is you get everyone's name in here, from Miss Thing to Medusa to Ant-Man to She-Hulk in this. Basically, he's talking to Ant-Man, and he says, we're going to be gone for 4 minutes. We're using time traveling, but for that 4 minutes, we need someone to stand in as the Fantastic Four, and we want you to lead it. And Ant-Man is still railing from the fact that his child was killed, and like, you got a bad coffee and all that stuff, and someone picked up his Nintendo Wii U before he got to it. So he's kind of pissed off. Probably more for the fact his child got killed, but that Wii U, that's a slap in the face. Uh, and he's trying to get this FF team together, and everyone's recruiting members. And while this is going on, in between each member being recruited, you see all the FF children getting interviewed and kind of introducing themselves. And that is the basic gist of the issue, is just the formation of this FF team, which is not only the new Fantastic Four, or the stand-in Fantastic Four, but the actual FF. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. This did a fantastic job at kind of giving me a basic backstory, or a basic idea on who these characters are. If you look at the inside issue, you get the names of them, but not just that. You kind of get who the characters are. You get a little bit of the backstory of them if you knew nothing about them. I don't know Ant-Man that well, other than the fact that one of the Ant-Mans, I don't know if it's this one, was spousal abuse. I don't know much about Medusa other than her hair has issues, and I know nothing about Miss Thing at all. I know a bit about She-Hulk because I like She-Hulk a lot, but it did a good job at introducing me to these characters and kind of bringing me in. It also was nice to have that section where all the kids are getting interviewed, and you kind of learn a little bit about the kids. Bad is that I still don't know anything about these kids other than just like the bare basics, and even that's not enough. This comic needs to be focused on the four characters: Medusa, Miss Thing, Ant-Man, and She-Hulk. And I really didn't like how. I mean, I really don't like the kids. Maybe that's just me, maybe because I don't have any exposure to them. They seem nice, they seem cool, but there's just too many characters in here for a book. I don't think this book should have more than the four main characters being focused on. I do want to say another good, because I completely forgot about this. Um, Reed Richards, I've always found as an interesting character. Always kind of had his head up in the air, and it's the other three members that kind of keep him grounded, particularly his wife. I do like how he's kind of been portrayed here as, um, I don't know, people kind of think of him as socially awkward, and he is socially awkward, but at the same time, I don't know, I just like how he's being portrayed here. Whether or not you should get it, I think this was a good issue. I don't think it was as good as Fantastic Four, but I still did enjoy it, so I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. On to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number, what is it, 16 that we're in? So it's basically the Turtles versus Slash here, and the repercussions and the fallout from it. I'm going to leave it at that. There is a fallout, there is repercussions, and basically it's them versus Slash. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Fight scene was good. I particularly like the ending where Raph is kind of going around saying, "What's up with Mikey?" and "What's up with Leo?" and just basically Splinter drills into him and goes, "Listen, this is who Mikey is. This is how Mikey thinks. This is what Mikey does. And listen, this is what Leo is. This is what Leo does. This is how Leo thinks. Don't judge them just because you think it's one way rather than the other." Um, you're probably going to be confused on what I mean by that. But for example, he kind of gets on top of Mike on how he reacts to what's happening in their world, and he basically says, Mike is Splinter says Mike is the most purest and loving person in the world, and more important than him being loved is him giving love, and it doesn't matter who he gives it to. And then he goes, and then Raph is like, well, Leo's not even showing an inch of remorse about what happens, and it's like, you don't understand, Leo. He's a warrior. He's a ninja. He shows his own remorse and his own honor in a different way. And the last picture is Leo, and or it's not the last picture, but it is one of the last pictures, and it shows Leo and how he's coping with what happened with Slash. If I'm being very vague, that's the point. Bad, nothing at all. This was a great issue. Also, 5 out of 5. TMNT is just such a great series. Red Lanterns issue number 14. So the last issue I thought was pretty good because they actually dealt with the Third Army, and we learned more about the Third Army, and it was great to see how the Red Lanterns kind of coped with what was going on with the Third Army. We get more of the Third Army and them fighting them and kind of discussing amongst each other on what they should do. And finally, Atrocitus gives each Red Lantern member a various different point of rage to focus on to make themselves stronger. Like, oh, Belize, you gotta deal with stuff that I'll even pull it up so I can read it for you. Um, he gives each Red Lantern member a various different point of rage to focus on. Zul and Zox will have crimes of oppression and resentment. Bleeze will have crimes of passion and depravity. And Skalak will have fear and madness. And then it's funny because right afterwards, Bleeze says, passion and depravity? I think I'm being typecast here. Um, there was some kind of funny moments in here, and there was some good fighting scenes in here. And I do like how the Red Lantern team is kind of shaping up. Bad is that the ending was, I don't know, it just wasn't interesting. But besides that, it was a good issue. 3 out of 5 Red Lanterns is you either love it or you hate it. And I've come to the understanding of what Red Lanterns is to me, which is a guilty pleasure. Teen Titans issue number 14. So this is the end of Wonder Girl's origin story, and basically it leads into the leaving of Red Robin from the team to go into Gotham with the crossover that they're going to be doing. Uh, and basically, it is just that. It is more of Wonder Girl's origin, dealing with the silent armor, learning more about Trigon. And what I find is interesting is Superboy wears his old costume in this, the t-shirt and the jeans, rather than uh, the kind of the Tron suit that he's wearing. And I can go either which way. The Tron suit's pretty cool, but the t-shirt and jeans were always cool too. So it would be cool if you kind of alternated between the two of them. And we get a resolve to Cassie's origin and who she is and where she's from and what she did and basically why she's wearing this armor and what decisions she's going to come to with this armor. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. I thought this was a solid origin story for Wonder Girl, the 2 issues. It kind of took the good that was Wonder Girl and kind of gave her a little bit more of an edginess to her, which is fine. I like the fact that it was centered on the trinity of the Titans, which is Tim, Wonder Girl, Superboy. And I also love the art in this. And the ending where the Titans kind of just interact with each other is fun. And there was some fun bunker Kid Flash moments too. But I really did like the art on this, and I hope the art is going to continue from what it is. I also like Solus had a few moments in this, and we're learning this stuff being planted. Bad is the ending. The ending with the silent armor was it was it was good, but it was kind of cliche in that sense. But besides that, I don't think the issue wowed me too much. It was good for what it was, but it didn't do anything extraordinary. 3 out of 5. I Vampire issue number 14, and boy, is this I'm not even gonna go into it. Basically, as we've known, is the roles have reversed. Mary Queen of the Blood is now the good guy, and Tig and Andrew Bennett are now the bad guys. And it's just really cool how things have been switched up. There's a lot of gruesomeness in there. We get some. Oh my God! I'm 5 out of 5, guys. I'm not even gonna bother going into review of it because I Vampire was just so good. It really is so good. And if I did any more of the review, talking about the good, talking about the bad, or just giving you a bit of the story, I think it will take away on how good it is. If you're not reading I Vampire because of the stigma that vampires have right now, being all romantic and chick flicky and whatever, you're missing out. Justice League Dark issue number 14. So this is focused a lot on Frankenstein, Black Orchid, and Amethyst as they go through the House of Secrets, is it? No, the House of Mystery. It's kind of just a fun, oh, what's in this door? What's this door? What's in this door story. But at the end of it, we also get to see some foreshadowing of what stuff that could be happening in the DCU. Particularly Phantom Stranger recruiting the Justice League Dark for his little Trinity war that might be going on. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. One scene in this particularly, which I think is the questions room, I could be wrong, but it has pictures of all various different superheroes in the DCU, And in it you get how the person is viewing these members of the DCU. Uh, and I don't know if it's a question, but it has pictures of like Batman and Superman, um, the Justice League, Adam One, Frankenstein, the Shade Agency, Stormwatch, Martian Manhunter, Black Adam, Doctor Savannah, all the people connected to the Red, the Green, and the Rot, and particularly Black Orchid, and a bit of information about her. So it was really kind of cool to see that. Even just for that two-page spread, was kind of cool to see that. I like how Phantom Stranger is kind of recruiting the Justice League Dark. And if Trinity War does happen, I don't think Justice League Dark's going to be in it, but if it does happen, I think Pandora is going to be on the side of the Justice League. Justice League Dark is going to be on the side of Phantom Stranger, and then maybe the JLA will be on the side of Question. I doubt that, but you never know. Uh, and everyone was in character. Everyone felt good. Bad, it's a transition issue. I felt as though the momentum has stopped from the previous issue with Zatanna getting captured or teleported away with our little friend, the little kid. Um, Forget his name. But anyways, Tim Hunter. But anyways, I think the major bad was the momentum was stopped. On a whole, whether or not you should get it, yeah, definitely. 4 out of 5. It was a fun issue. Phantom Girl and Dollman, or Phantom Lady and Dollman, issue number 404, the end of this series. Basically, this is, did I say Phantom Girl? I meant Phantom Lady. Basically, this is Phantom Lady getting her final revenge on the douchebag who kind of ruined her life. And that's about it. There's not much more to it. Uh, it does have the Ray show up at the end. Not to spoil anything, but it seems as though some of these minis are going to be tying together, like the Ray and Phantom Lady and maybe the Shade. I doubt it, but I think some of these minis are going to be tying together, and that's kind of interesting. Let's just do good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good, I like the characterizations of everyone in this. I think everyone was in character to what they should be. I like the Ray showing up at the end and showing that continuity, and I like the fact that this sets up for more for a Phantom Lady in the future. Bad is there's two things. I think it went kind of over the top with its villain. In addition to that, there's one scene where Phantom Lady comes back. In the very beginning, she takes off her clothes, her suit, puts on new clothes, sits down, have a quick drink with Dollman, then proceeds to take off the clothes that she just put on, and goes in the shower. What was the point of that? Um, Besides that, this was an okay issue. I don't think it's the strongest that the series had, and I'm sure it didn't end off on the best note. I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5. It was enjoyable, but it didn't do what I wanted it to do. All-Star Western issue number 14. Basically, Jonah Hex and Tulu Black go their separate ways. Tulu Black goes with that Asian vigilante. I forget her name. And Jonah Hex stays in Gotham and does what Jonah Hex does, is drink and shoot stuff. Dr. Hyde, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde plays a role in this, and I think they were really the standout in this issue, and I really want to see more of, well, those two characters, because I think they are interesting in the all-star Western kind of universe. And there was some gruesome stuff in there, too, especially with Mr. Hyde. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Like I said, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde were really good in this. The dialogue was really solid. And there was some gruesomeness at the end. Some really gruesomeness on what Mr. Hyde can do. Bad is it's a shame to see Tulu Black kind of leaving the group, and I felt as though the main stuff with Jonah Hex and Tulu Black was, and that Asian vigilante was just not as interesting as it could be. It just was there. It wasn't bad. It was just wasn't interesting. On a whole, whether or not you should get it, this is for the first time I think I'm ever going to do this, but 3 out of 5 for All Star Western. It was good. Wasn't the most amazing thing in the world. Definitely had its hiccup. I didn't know if my phone went off. We're getting there. We're getting towards the end. Next, we have Angel and Faith, issue number 16. This is basically the fallout issue to the Slayers finding out that um basically finding out that Faith has been working with Angel. But there's a few shockers in this. For example, there's a twist at the end, and in addition to that, Giles's body has gone missing. Where could it have gone? I don't know. But good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. I like the twist at the end, and I like the setup for future issues. This is the start of a story arc, Death and Consequences, and I did like how the Slayers reacted to Faith betraying them. And in addition to that, Giles' family is growing on me, his aunts. Bad. This felt more like an ending issue than a beginning issue. I don't know if that should be considered bad, but to me, I felt as though this was more closure than a setup. I mean, they had a great setup and ending at the end, but it felt like that. It's just closure more than anything. Not closure, but epilogue. I don't know. On a whole, whether or not you should get it, 3.5 out of 5. It was a good issue. It wasn't the best that Angel and Faith had pulled out, but I still enjoyed it more than the stuff that's going on in Buffy. Thor, God of Thunder, issue number 2, which is apparently bi-weekly. I did not know that. Some of the Marvel Now titles are going to be bi-weekly. Basically, this focuses more on Thor in the past than anything. Before he gets Mjolnir and when he's kind of that god, that young, bombastic, cocky, egotistic kind of god. And he fights the hunter of the gods, this guy that is going around and kills pantheons. And Thor goes up against him, and Thor, he has a tough time against this guy because, again, this guy kills gods. Who is this guy? Where does he come from? What's his purpose in killing the gods? And will Thor be able to defeat him? Just gonna have to read and see. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. I liked the fight between the God Hunter. I don't know if he has a name or not. I'm not gonna lie, when I read this the first time, I was a little asleep. It was right after work, so I was a little tired. I don't think this guy ever got a name, but if he did, I missed it. The fight between him and Thor in the air was really cool. Particularly the moment where the guy's like, he's beating the shit out of Thor, and he goes, "What are you the god of, anyways?" And Thor goes, "Thunder," and then boom, lightning bolt comes down and takes out. It was really kind of cool fight scene. Uh, I like that I focus on younger Thor because I think younger Thor has more to offer at some points. And I thought the art was, for the most part, good, with the exception of some facial features that Thor makes. But other than that, I thought the art was pretty good. Uh, Bad. The dialogue could have been rough at some points, and I think it was mostly rough where they made the mistake of having Thor do a lot of internal dialogue during the fight scenes. I said this before and I'll say it again. Fight scenes are best when there is little dialogue, maybe 5-word sentence, and that's it. There was a lot of dialogue when the fight scene was going on. I think it took away from the fight scene because I'm sitting there and I'm like half asleep reading this dialogue that really didn't matter at all to me while this awesome fight scene's going on. On a whole, whether or not you should get it, I think this was a little bit better than the last issue. I'm not sure. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. I did enjoy it, and it's enjoyable enough that I will continue reading. Uh, the jury's still out on all the Marvel titles I'm reading on whether or not I'm going to continue with them. But for now, that has done well enough for me to want to continue reading it. We will see where it goes. We will see where it goes. We're getting to the end right now. We're at the last, 4 titles. Savage Hawkman, issue number 14. So, I'm kind of actually interested to see how much Rob Liefeld, because this is like his last issue that he's on the comic book. I'm interested on how much influence he's actually had in this. Did he just plot it? Did he actually do the dialogue? Because this was really good. Well, not really good, but this was good. Hawkman and Green Arrow are basically working together to find Shire and take her out before she takes them out. is part of the Hawkman Wanted story. And it kind of ties into Deathstroke at the end because he meets up with Deathstroke at the point that they met up in Deathstroke's comic. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. What I like in this that it does that no comic has really done that well for me is it made Green Arrow fun for me. I like Green Arrow and Hawkman working together. I think the new 52 version of them working together is actually really good and it's like the complete opposite of before the new 52 because they hated each other. Oh god. Hawkman and Green Arrow loathed each other before the new 52. But in this, they're actually fun as a team. I thought the dialogue was pretty good, and I thought the fight scenes were pretty good too. And again, this Hawkman Wanted stuff is keeping me interested. Bad is I just don't like the transition into where Destro comes in. I mean, it's okay, but it wasn't overwhelmingly great. Um, Other than that, this was actually a pretty fun issue. I did enjoy it a lot. 4.5 out of 5. That may be generous, but the Hawkman Wanted stuff has been a good crossover thus far. Flash issue number 14, Guerrilla Warfare Part 2. Now, this is the reason why Flash is not going to be in the Justice League crossover Throne of Atlantis, because Flash is going to be busy fighting Gorilla Grodd, and basically it's that Flash versus Gorilla Grodd, and the Rogues kind of helping out against the Gorillas. This has kind of a shocking ending with a revelation to certain character with another character, and Grodd basically shows why he is possibly the deadliest Flash villain of all, or Rogue of all. Well, he's not a Rogue, but you get what I'm saying. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Uh, I thought the fights were great in this. The pacing was great. The ending was shocking, and I'm really interested to see how it plays out. I'm really interested to see how it plays out. Um, Art, dialogue, everything was just good about this issue. It's gonna get a 5 out of 5. Pick it up. Really pick it up. Flash has been one of the most consistent and well done comics in the New 52. On to Aquaman issue number 14, the prelude to the Throne of Atlantis. And basically, this focuses on Ocean Master and Ocean Master interaction with Aquaman. And their history is different in this because, of course, the New 52 changed it. And we get a more complex Aquaman, who, not complex Aquaman, but Ocean Master, who's very much like Captain Cold or Sinestro, where they're a bad guy, but they're not really a bad guy, but they just have a different perspective or point of view when it comes down to something. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good is I liked Ocean Master's portrayal in this. I thought his interactions with Arthur was really great. There was a mention to a former Aquaman character or a previous Aquaman character kind of making their return. I'll give you a hint. It's someone with purple eyes. Any Aquaman fan should know who that is. So, a hint to a return of that character. The art was pretty good in this. We get the new artist on Aquaman, and I did enjoy the art. Yeah, bad. Not too much. I think on a whole, everything worked out. You see mostly shadows of Ocean Master in this, and there is a shocker of an ending which someone does something to release something. I'm being very vague, but I don't want to give it away. But it basically is tying the first two story arcs of Hawkman together very nicely. I also like Ocean Master's new costume. I think it looks badass, and it blends very well. I was gonna give this a 4.5 out of 5, but looking back on it and thinking about it now as reviewing it, I'm actually gonna give it a 5 out of 5. Aquaman, it was just great this week. We had a lot of good comics this week. Finally, to the comic I was probably looking forward to the most this week, Superman in Hell on Earth. So Superman issue number 14. Basically, Superman is broken up into two sections. One is Superman's having this long discussion with Lois about their relationship and their love life equally, and then Kara busts in on them, and that's where Supergirl left off. And then the fight with Hell, who, yeah, Hell is just he tries to take Superman in as a brother, and then he tries to kill Superboy, and Superman doesn't like that, and shit goes down. Shit goes down. Uh, Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good is I really, really did like the conversation between Clark Kent and Lois Lane. And if anything, I feel as though Scott Lobdell does a great Clark Kent for the new 52 Clark Kent. His Superman, the jury's still out on that, but I really did like the Clark and Lois interaction in this. I thought it was really done, well done, and I did like how Supergirl barged in and how Scott Lobdell kind of worked around that. So I did like the first third of the issue, which was that kind of conversation that was going on. The fight scene was pretty good, and you can definitely tell that there's going to be a schism in the Superman family because Hell is kind of convincing Supergirl to work for him, while Superboy kind of wants to work with Superman. Baz, I felt as though Superman was kind of a dick in this. Kind of a dick. You can make Superman edgy, but you don't have to make him a dick. It was just a teeny dick when he was Superman. As Clark, he was fine. Clark, great. Superman, kind of a dick. You know, just a teeny one. Uh, in addition to that, I felt as though the ending was not good. It felt as though instead of a start, well, not a start because the story has been going for 2 issues, but it felt as though kind of an ending more than anything, with someone flying off into the distance. On a whole, it was an okay issue. I think the again that Kenneth Rockefeller's art is just beautiful on this. Really is beautiful. On a whole, it was good. I wouldn't say it was as good as I thought it was going to be. I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. I think what really hurts it is just the fact that Hell's interactions with Superman started off well, but this is the problem. Hell kind of flies off, and at the ending, and it's not like he just buggers off for no good reason. He's so powerful. It should have ended with him standing over Superman and Superman getting his ass handed to him. Other than that, I mean, it was an okay issue, but the story arc's not turning out the way I wanted it to. So yes, that is my comic load for the week. Quite a lot of stuff. A lot of reading. Which one will turn out to be my Andrew Cutter pick of the week? There's some contenders. You're just going to have to wait and see. So I'm going to end this review here. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.